If you're buying a car in the UK on finance, you must know this information. If you don't know it, you'll lose a lot of money that you wish that you didn't lose. I used to work for one of the biggest companies in the UK for selling cars, and you'd be absolutely shocked and stunned at how many people never do this. So I've drawn up a mock example here. I'll run through it with you. It's not complicated at all, and I'll show you how to do it. And it's something that's well worthwhile doing before you go and buy a car. I'm going to do a series of videos on the full car buying process to make it easier to explain it. I'll explain what the salesman job is, I'll explain how to negotiate in another video, and later on I'll explain more of the inner workings of the dealership itself and how the salespeople can actually work as well. So for this example, I've done it for a Honda Civic, but it's applicable to any car, any price. It's all the same principles, and you'll see why. It's just that the spreads will be different on it. So once again, stick with me, it's really not complicated. I've drawn it up for 36 months, 48 months and 60 months, which is 3 years, 4 years and 5 years. They're the common terms that people would be buying cars over on finance. So first off, we're going to look at this. What is a flat rate? A flat rate is the rate that the dealer will work off of, along with a lot of other financial companies will work off this. The reason for it is it's easy to display, it's easy to work with, it's easy to understand and calculate. Whereas the APR rate is very complex, almost impossible to calculate on the spot. In fact, I'm almost sure you would need a computer to do all the complicated algorithms that are behind this. As a quick rule of thumb, the flat rate is going to be roughly half of the APR rate. It's not exact, but it's close enough that you can work off of it. It's the same for the 5% rate. It's very close. Right, so over the 36 month and the APR will change. It's a variable APR rate usually, even a fixed one. It changes depending on the deal as such. So anyway, sorry about that. The 36 months anyway. So we're going to look at this. In order to calculate the interest that you're going to be due on this, you take the list price of the car, £15,000, times it by 0.07, which is the percentage that you're looking for, and that will give you an annual rate. Take that annual rate, times it by 3, and that will give you your interest over the course of that term, which is the 36 months. Which in this example is 3,150, total price 18,150, payments 504. So I'm going to do this as a comparison between the 7% rate and the 5% rate, and I'll explain why I'm doing it between these two rates. So on the 5% rate, same calculation except change the 0.07 to 0.05 to reflect 5% interest rate and times that by 3. And that will give you 2,250 interest, 17,250 total, payments 479. It's £900 less. That's just in this example so far. £900 less. Right. Why this is important to know is the dealer always try and put you close to this figure when this figure is perfectly achievable. In fact, slightly lower than this is achievable, but every single garage can put you on this rate. I'm telling you that point blank. No excuses, they can put you on that rate. They will give you excuses such as it might not go through finance, the banks don't like it, the lenders don't like it, it increases your risk of failing finance, anything to try and scare you out of this. I'll explain it later on why they would do that and why it's beneficial to them. So 48 months, same calculation, 0.07, but you change this to 4 to reflect 4 years annual interest rate. 4,200 interest. Do the same on the 5% rate, 3,000 interest. Right, that's £1,200 less. And monthly payments, £25 a month less. Yeah? 60 months, change to 5 to reflect 5 years, 5,250 interest. Yeah? 3,750 interest on 5%. 1,500 less. You know, it's £1,500 more if they put you on this rate. Right, so right away you can see from this example and how to calculate it that if you go on the 7% rate, then you're going to be paying incredibly more money than you need to pay The monthly payments are obviously more, but the total cost is considerably more. In effect, you've just lost £1,500 if they've done that. Why this is important to them, I'll cover this quickly. Why this is important to them is the dealer will get paid more money. They get a percentage of this interest rate. They'll negotiate with the finance company on what percentage they can get of this. And they'll say that, okay, if you put them on a 7% rate, it's more profit for everybody, therefore we'll give you a bigger chunk of this. So I don't know, it's the manager that will know all this details, but I worked close enough with the manager and spoke to him enough to pick it up. I was very inquisitive when I worked there. And I know from this number, they'll be getting, round about £1,000 from doing this deal with you. Yeah, out of that 5,250, they'll get about £1,000, maybe about 800 up here. Yeah, on this one they might get 400, considerably less for the dealer. 400 profit, 1,000 profit. So you can immediately see why. The salesperson, this will be the same for most garages. The salesperson will get paid considerably more for putting you on this rate than they would on this rate. So there's a huge incentive to try and charge you an inflated rate over what they should be charging you. So they'll get the profit from the car. I'll cover the full sales process in another video and why the profits are the way they are, but they'll get about £700 for the car profit, and they'll get 1,000 for the finance. That's not including the extras like the warranties, VRI insurance, things like that, or what's called gap insurance in some places still, and obviously service and MOT plans, things like that. That's before adding any of that in. They'll get about 1,700 profit off of that, opposed to maybe 1,100 or 1,200. So they'll push to get you on this rate a lot. What you want to do is you never want to be, I'll cover this in the buying process as well, but you never really want to disclose your monthly figure easily, right? Without being aware of this at least. You can get away with things. I mean, I can get away with it if I go into a car garage. I can tell them whatever I want to tell them because I know exactly what their job is and I'm not worried about it in the slightest because I'll get what I want at the end of the day anyway. Just because I know what they can do, and I stick to what I say. If I say I'm walking away, I'll walk away. I know they'll phone me back anyway if I did that. But anyway, the reason you don't want to be a monthly payment negotiator is because if you walk into the garage and say that, okay, I want this Honda Civic for 15 grand, and I want it for, say, I want it for 340 a month. Yeah. Easy. You can immediately see for this, they don't need to change this overinflated APR rate almost. And in fact, in most cases, they wouldn't change that. What they would do is slightly modify the price of the car, and to get to 335, say you wanted, sorry, not 340, say you wanted 335, which is just slightly below this number here. All they need to do is modify the car. They'll give you what they'll do is they'll make a big deal out of it. They'll come out and say, yeah, okay, it's a tight bargain, it's this, it's that. There's not a lot of money in the car. Whatever they need to say to you. I'm not sure if we can do that, blah blah blah. But let me check with the manager. I'll tell you what, if I can get you that car for 335 a month in your price bracket, what you've agreed to and told me that you want, if I can get you that for 335 a month, would you be happy? Go ahead today. And they'll say something like, yeah, if you can get it for 335, that's fine. You go into the manager, he'll take a couple of £100 off the car, you get a £200 profit. You get, or what you think is a £200 profit rather. So you think you're getting a £200 profit, you're a big happy customer, you've negotiated, you've got £200 off and you feel gleaming. Problem is you never negotiated the rate and you just lost 1,500. So say you never lost 1,500, you lost 1,300 because you got 200 off, but you still lost 1,300 quid. That's the bottom line to it. So you always negotiate on the rate and the car price, right? As I said previously, there's no excuse why you can't get this rate or lower in some cases, and that depends on the garage, depends on the situation. But they can do this rate every single time. So if you're on 5%, just say, okay, it's a given, we're on 5%, right? Noted out, you're on 5% now, my friend. Now let's look at the price of the car. What's your best price on this? You know, I mean, that backs them into a corner where there's no tricks left. They can't play any tricks on you. As long as you're aware of what your trade-in value is, that is. Or they might try and, you know, get one over you on that. However, once you do that, you just say, okay, what's your best price on this? You know, what can you do for me? Okay, can you give me it for, you know, what, 14,800, 14,700, plus you're on the lower rate, and you'll save, not only will you save the 1,500, you'll get extra on top of that. So you're saving the 1,500 plus you maybe get £200 extra. So instead of in this example where the customer walks away thinking they're all happy and oh, I've negotiated, I'm a hardcore negotiator, where they've actually lost 1,300, you know what I mean? You could actually know this information, not lose the 1,300 and actually be up 200. You know, a huge, huge difference. Keep an eye out for my follow the videos. And if you found this helpful, or you know somebody that finds it helpful, send it to them, share it, and subscribe and like all that stuff, you know. Right, take care guys, and good luck while you're buying.